Hey everyone, it's Kyle, Azora Hype. In today's video, I'm going to break down and preview everything we see in the Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 2 preview trailer. So let's get hype and let's jump into the video. In the preview trailer for Episode 2, we see Jaime Lannister standing before Daenerys in Winterfell. It almost looks as if he's on trial, similar to the Littlefinger death scene we got with Sansa, Bran, and Arya in the Season 7 finale. Daenerys talks about how her and Viserys talked about the man who killed their father and what they would do to him. Jaime does look worried, but I actually think he's safe. The way this scene cuts just before Bran could foreshadow that he vouches for Jaime, reminding everyone that there is a bigger threat. I also like the idea that he puts up an argument that if Jaime hadn't pushed him, he wouldn't have become the Three-Eyed Raven. Another possibility is that Jaime gets to finally explain why he killed the Mad King. What better place than Winterfell, the home of Ned Stark, the man who first discovered Jaime's crime? There are so many possibilities for this scene, and I think it would be awesome if Bran was also able to verify Jaime's story since he is now the Three-Eyed Raven. This is also a callback of Jaime telling Brienne his story in the scene of Harrenhal. Brienne didn't have any dialogue in episode 1, so I suspect even though she questioned Jaime's honor in their dragon pit scene last season, we could see her step up to the plate and defend Jaime in this episode. One of the main themes for Game of Thrones Season 8 is identity, but also transformation. And Jaime Lannister's entire arc has been centered around this Kingslayer label that he's been trying to shed. This moment when Jaime is seemingly on trial is actually the rediscovery of this Kingslayer label that he carries, and questions whether he should have ever been condemned at all. Jaime's true heroic moment became his cursed branding.
The Kingslayer!
Jaime. My name's Jaime.
For a brief moment, Daenerys passes by Tyrion, Jorah, and Varys, who all look very concerned. Have they discovered a new threat, or is this just a brief moment before the scene with Daenerys and Sansa? Dany and Sansa have a moment together discussing Cersei. Is this a step towards getting along, perhaps an olive branch moment in this episode? It seems like Sansa just told Daenerys about her time in King's Landing. Then Daenerys says Sansa should have never trusted Cersei, but Sansa turns around on Daenerys and she definitely has a point. Why should anyone trust Cersei? Just as Sansa questioned Tyrion's intelligence in episode 1 of season 8, she also questions Daenerys. In this moment, the audience can better understand where Sansa is coming from. This queen who is clever and ruthless enough to bring down the majority, if not all of the slave market in Essos, crosses the narrow sea with the biggest army on the planet and is taking Cersei Lannister at her word. We as the audience should question this as well, since Daenerys has accused Tyrion of trying to protect his family. She didn't seem to trust him last season, but now after he's talked to Cersei, she's actually fine with it? Again, this is a moment highlighting the fact that Daenerys is learning about Westeros and its key players. This might be her birthplace, but she is definitely more of a foreigner. This exchange about trust features several characters, including Daenerys, Tyrion, Jorah, Varys, and Sansa. Although the dialogue used is about not trusting Cersei, what about the level of trust between Sansa and Daenerys? Are they going to be able to trust each other in Game of Thrones Season 8? We hear Arya's line about death having many faces, and if you watch my video breakdown of the Season 8 official trailer on who is chasing Arya, then you know that Arya is definitely going to need that weapon from Gendry. We see blacksmiths hard at work making weapons, and then Jorah unsheathes the sword, which looks to be like Heartsbane. We know that Jorah is one of the best fighters the Realms of Men have left, so it will be interesting to see Jorah fight with superior weaponry in the Battle of Winterfell. Having a Valyrian steel blade surely increases his chances at survival, and I'm hopeful that he does survive the Battle of Winterfell, but we heard him talk with Jon Snow last season about why he should keep Longclaw. Is this foreshadowing that Jorah Mormont is going to meet his demise at the Army of the Dead protecting Jon, Daenerys, or even Lyanna Mormont in the Battle of Winterfell? We also see Daenerys with Jon in the crypts, which is a big deal since Jon found out he's the true heir to the Iron Throne, and Aegon Targaryen, the son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. Will he tell Daenerys who he really is? Will everyone else in Winterfell be notified that Jon is both a Stark and a Targaryen? I could see Jon holding this information back because he doesn't want to create a rift with Daenerys, but Jon also knows the importance of truth and honor. And I could see a scenario where Jaime is having his honor questioned and Bran blurts out that Jon is Aegon Targaryen. This is actually really important because it not only reveals who Jon truly is, but Jaime could speak about his last conversation with Rhaegar Targaryen. We have to remember that Rhaegar left for the battle on the Trident, and before that, he wanted to call a council so that everyone in Westeros was on the same page, and perhaps he even wanted to remove his father from the Iron Throne. What's interesting is that all of these characters featured in Arya's voiceover have escaped death. Jon is quite obvious, but Jorah, with the help of Sam, narrowly escapes grayscale. Daenerys should have died on Drogo's funeral pyre, and Arya nearly died at the hands of the waif. These characters have also dealt out a tremendous amount of death. When Arya says she looks forward to seeing this one, you can't help but wonder if these characters die, or they will be the face of death for someone or something else. After all, Valor Morgulis is a very important term we hear used throughout the series. Just after Arya's line, we see Jon talking to Tormund, and Jon asks, "How long do we have?" There are several cuts of people riding into Winterfell. There's a catapult being fired, soldiers are getting ready, then Grey Worm and Missandei kiss as well, and this is followed by a shot of what looks to be like an emotionally crushed Daenerys Targaryen. While one romance intensifies, perhaps another is already on the skids. We then cut to Jon looking up and out at something. He looks very, very afraid, and then we hear Tormund's voice saying, "Before the sun comes up tomorrow." I really love this line because the term winter is coming to fruition, and now winter is here. The Night King brings the long night with him, and it will take a Herculean effort to stop him for this dream of spring to be realized. Perhaps Ned Stark brought back Arthur Dayne's sword Dawn in the show and hid it in Lyanna's statue. We know that Daenerys and Jon are both connected to the Azor Ahai prophecy. So perhaps we could get more information and more clues on who Azor Ahai or Lightbringer is in this episode. We are quickly reminded that nothing else matters. Every living creature is on the same team now, with the same objective, which is survival. So the petty quips back and forth, the romance, the political intrigue, it's all about to take a backseat to the very real, true, and close threat, the Night King and his army marching towards Winterfell. The last shot is of Tyrion standing on the battlements of Winterfell, which looks very similar to his stance in the Battle of the Blackwater. He had a clever plan then, but will he have one now? Tyrion hasn't had many successful clever moments lately, so this shot seems very ominous. His clever plan at the Battle of the Blackwater only held off Stannis' men for a time, and it wasn't until Tywin rode in with the force of Highgarden and Casterly Rock that they actually defeated Stannis. This time, however, Tywin nor any of those armies will be able to ride in and save the day. If he has a clever plan, Tyrion is on his own. Maybe Tyrion talks to Bran about the secret passage in the Crypts of Winterfell. This could be a great way for Tyrion to redeem himself after he botched the plan he hatched for Casterly Rock last season. One thing is for certain, the intensity will only get greater with each episode, and the Realms of Men better get on the same page before the Night King attacks Winterfell, or we will see what was displayed in the Aftermath teaser trailer for Season 8, Hardhome 2.0, at Winterfell. In my next video, I will be discussing Sansa Stark and Cersei Lannister. I think it's very interesting how many times Sansa was referenced in connection to the word intelligence in Episode 1 of Season 8. She's finally feeling confident and applying what she's learned from characters like the Queen of Thorns, Littlefinger, and Cersei herself. So perhaps we could see the rise of a new queen in Sansa and the demise of another in Cersei Lannister. And we know that Season 8 is going to be about synchronicity, about ice and fire. So be on the lookout for a Sansa Stark and Cersei Lannister video over the next couple of days. But what do you think will happen in Episode 2 of Season 8, and what are the things that you want to see the most before the epic Battle of Winterfell in Episode 3? Let me know your thoughts, your theories, and what you're most hyped about in the comment section. If you love Game of Thrones as much as I do, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'm doing daily Game of Thrones videos, including a live preview of Episode 2 tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my awesome friends, Secrets of the Citadel and Geek Chat 1. So make sure you bring your hype, your love, and get your questions ready for tomorrow night. Also, let me know in the comment section about what topic you would like me to cover in my next videos. Your feedback and support is always appreciated. All the linky goodness to my Patreon, all my social media, and the link to my GoFundMe for Con of Thrones is in the description of this video. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video. Hype and love.